You're wrong, Edgeworth. She's totally related to this case. I need to fill Edgeworth in. I need to explain the connection between Iris and the woman Edgeworth knew. He is on about case 4. Oh. I don't need to do that, I need to present. I'm an idiot. I almost presented Iris' profile. Question marks! Hey, Edgeworth. Did you know that Iris had a twin sister? What? A twin? You can't be serious. Sister Bikini told me, but... The problem is, she didn't know the name of this twin. There was nothing about Iris having a sister in the files I checked. Well, Iris was taken in by the temple when she was really young. Apparently her sister was raised by her father. A jeweler, I think. A jeweler? Right, I might just know who this twin sister of hers is. I had a feeling you'd say that. Let me guess. Oh god, her name is Dahlia Hawthorne, right? What I find so strange about this is how many cases tie in. Tie back, or come back to Dahlia Hawthorne. Like the first ever case we did, obviously she was kind of a centre point of it. Then you had case 3. Was it case 3? Wait, case... Oh, no, not case 3. Case 4, and then this one. All of which have had something to do with Dahlia Hawthorne. That's over half the game. Yes, exactly. Please, tell me what you know about her, Edgeworth. Please. So, talk... Dahlia Hawthorne. It was my first court case 6 years ago. I was a greenhorn, and due to my inexperience, the defendant died. You're talking about Terry Falls, right? You know about that case? You're not the only one who noticed something about Iris and Dahlia Hawthorne. I checked one of Mia's old files from 6 years ago. Yes, Dahlia was a key witness in that case. Posing as Melissa Foster, though. Dahlia and Terry Falls conspired together to stage a fake kidnapping 11 years ago. They stole a jewel worth $2 million from Dahlia's father, a jeweler. And 5 years after that, she murdered her own sister, Valerie Hawthorne, to keep her from talking. Her sister? Well, her step-sister, actually. They weren't blood-related. Valerie was the only daughter of Dahlia's father... The only daughter of Dahlia's father's second wife. Oh. And this is when she entered my life. The woman who tried to kill me. God, no wonder Phoenix does not give, like, dating or, love a second try. So, after Terry Falls died, what happened to Dahlia? Did you check that out? There is no need. Like I said, Dahlia isn't connected with this case. Why are you so sure about that? It's simple. Dahlia Hawthorne is dead. What? Well, her metabolic processes are a matter of interest only to historians, so to speak. Dahlia's death. What do you mean by Dahlia Hawthorne is dead, Edgeworth? I only just discovered this, right? But I never knew about the murder case you were involved in during your college years. Okay, yeah. Dahlia Hawthorne was found guilty. Thanks to the persistence of Mia Fey. Mia Fey. I always do that. Oh god, demon. Mia Fey! God, she really is the embodiment of evil. What a bitch. At the time, Dahlia... It's like she was possessed by a demon or something. It's been 6 years since that guilty verdict was handed down, and her sentence was finally carried out. She was executed last month. Executed? I'm sure that's a bit of a shock for you, right? And for more reasons than one. But do you understand now? She can't possibly be connected with this case. She's dead, and once someone is dead, there is no way to revive them. True, you can't revive them. You can... There's nowhere to revive the dead. I wonder. Seems you're not aware of one other connection yet, Edgeworth. And what is that? It's about Iris and Dahlia Hawthorne's mother. What's their mother got to do with any of this? She's Morgan Fay, a spirit medium from a branch family of the Karine channeling technique. Did you say Karine channeling technique? Do you know something about it? Oh, yes. I know it's connected with that fraudulent spirit medium. Fraudulent? Oh, right, yeah, Misty Fay. I was involved in another nightmare 17 years ago. I was caught up in the middle of a murder investigation. The police didn't have any leads. They were stumped, and that's when they called her in. She was a very famous spirit medium and the master of her channeling school. But you know what happened? As a result of her efforts, an innocent man was accused of murder. She and her powers, they were all fraudulent. Edgeworth, go to the police records room. It's all in there. All you have to do... Pardon me. All you have to do is check the DL6 case file and you'll know. Of course. How could I forget? Edgeworth was the victim in that case. Edgeworth, you'll understand someday. And then you'll see that the Karine channeling technique is real. Oh, of course, he doesn't understand. Right, never mind. Move! Got only thing we can do now. Wait, do we actually have Dahlia's profile? I do. Oh wow, that's so weird. Age deceased. Oh my god, it's so strange. I mean, literally the way they made her, it's quite obvious. They didn't create two separate character models. They literally just took Dahlia's and then coloured her hair black. At least I think that's what happened. They have the same, like... I'm pretty sure they have the same physique, too. Right, either way. I don't want to talk, I want to present. The Magatama. It's time to break those chains over your heart. Brum, brum, brum. What is it we're trying to find out? I can't remember. Oh yeah, Night of the Crime. I think it's time you told me the truth about what you were doing on that night. You said you were in your room at Hazakura Temple the entire time. Do you still claim that to be the truth? Yes, that's where I was. Iris, I believe you're innocent. That's why I want to believe what you're telling me too. But I can't. Because this person saw you somewhere else on the night of the murder. Okay. I'm talking about Sister Bikini, of course. Sister Bikini? Her testimony in court today was very clear. That night I was helping an acolyte with her training in the inner temple, but, well, as you can see, my back likes to act up, violently. So I left Iris to help the acolyte and returned to Hazakura Temple. Sister Bikini didn't see you, or just see you, she spoke with you. You two talked about Maya's training that night. So you see, Iris, you were there at the inner temple on the night of the murder. That's very impressive, Mr. Wright. Ooh. The acolyte's actual training was due to start after 10 o'clock that night. I left the main hall early so I wouldn't be late. What time was that? Let me see. It takes about 20 minutes to walk between the main hall and the inner temple, so I would have left at about 9:40 PM, I think. I'm sorry, Iris, but lying just doesn't suit you. Huh? Now, you say you left the main hall at 9:40 PM, but what... Oh, what you say doesn't add up with this. It would be the HUD. She gave it just before she rang the lights out bell. Yeah, received before the lights out bell. Uh-huh. You yourself testified to the contrary, don't you remember? You said you rang the lights out bell at 10 o'clock that night. Ah. Plus, only moments before you rang that bell, you were seen at the main hall by the most reliable witness I have. Who's that? Me. Mr. Wright. We even spoke a little that evening. That's when you gave me this. Surely you haven't forgotten. No, that's right. I remember. Okay. And that brings us to another puzzling fact, Iris. At 10 o'clock, on the night of the murder, you were seen in 2 different places at the same time. It's time you told me exactly what's been going on, Iris. So far, I've managed to prove 2 things. First, on the night of the incident, you were at the inner temple. And second, at the exact same time, you were ringing the bell at Hazakura Temple. There's only one possible explanation for this apparent impossibility. There were 2 of you. On the night of the incident, you were seen in 2 different places at the same time. Which means, There must have been 2 of you. I can't think of any other explanation, Iris. But that's crazy. How could that be? There's only 1 of me. It's impossible. Impossible? I wonder. The way you're trembling certainly seems to suggest otherwise. You're seriously trying to suggest there's more than 1 of me? Then show me the evidence. Show me something that proves there is more than 1 of me. I mean, there is only 1 Iris. But you had a twin sister. I have a firm grasp of the situation now, Iris. You have a sister, don't you? A twin sister, perhaps? That's right. Dahlia Hawthorne, a woman I know only too well. I had no idea you knew of her. Very impressive, Mr. Wright. But she's no longer... Yes, I know. Her sentence was carried out recently, wasn't it? I'm sorry. Thank you. There's no need to explain now, is there, Iris? This second you who was here at the temple on the night of the murder, it was your twin sister, Dahlia Hawthorne. But you just said it yourself a second ago. My sister's dead. Have you forgotten that? Have you forgotten this, Iris? This is a channeling dojo, a training ground of the Karine channeling technique. That night, someone channeled Dahlia's spirit. And you knew about it. And that's the secret you've been trying to hide from me. Oh! Yeah, that's what Edgeworth doesn't understand. Mm-hmm. The night of the crime. I was in my room in the main hall that night. As soon as I heard that I'd been spotted at the inner temple, I knew. I knew it was my sister. Dahlia, the other half of me who passed away last month. Just as I suspected. The Iris that Sister Bikini saw at the inner temple on the night of the murder. It was Dahlia Hawthorne. But because it was nighttime, you won't be able to see the red hair. Why didn't you tell me this before? Because my sister always does the right thing. Excuse me? Because I mustn't get in the way of what she's trying to do. I already betrayed her once before. I can't do it again. You betrayed her? What do you mean? That's why I have to accept I may be found guilty. It's the only way. What is she talking about? The traitor? You know about it, don't you, Mr. Wright? About the fake kidnapping that took place here on the Eagle Mountain 11 years ago? That was the start of it all. It twisted her entire destiny. Hmm? Oh dear. Oh, she started to commit crime after crime, and in the end, she lost her life. It's all because I betrayed her. How did you betray her, Iris? It was no coincidence that Eagle Mountain is where the exchange was to take place. Oh, because she was here! After all, I helped plan the whole thing. What? But I got scared, so I ran away. What are you talking about? Why would you help her? Stealing $2 million from your own father, that's awful. I promised I'd help. And... she didn't do it for the money. Huh? It was revenge. On our father. Revenge? Oh, I was about to say, where's revenge pop up? What do you mean by revenge? He was a hideous man. He threw our mother away and then sent her to hell. Yeah, Morgan? Her mother? She must be talking about Morgan Fay. Our mother was the eldest daughter of the main branch of the Fay family. The main family had a lot of influence in many business and political circles at the time. As the eldest daughter, our mother was set to inherit all of that as the next master. That's the reason our father married our mother in the first place, for power. But his plan backfired, because our mother's sister took it all from her. She took over as the Master of Karine. That would be Misty Fay, Maya's mother. But before long, the credibility of the Karine tradition hit rock bottom. The new master, Mystic Misty Fay, made a terrible mistake. It was during the investigation of the DL6 incident. After that happened, our father took me and my twin sister away, leaving our mother and our home behind. He hated the place. He said it was a hick dive, and that he had no reason to stay there. And that's when you came to Hazakura Temple. Yes. The woman my father took as his next wife already had a daughter, Valerie. I had no place in his new family, you see. Oh. And I haven't seen my mother once since then. Having the master seat stolen from her and being rejected by her own family. I've heard she's been very battered spiritually and emotionally. I think I'm finally beginning to see how the pieces fit together. I've asked her everything I can in my capacity as a prosecutor. This incident, everything related to it, goes back to the history of the Fake Land. That's what it looks like. Maris, there's just one more thing I want you to tell me. What is it? During the incident in which your sister Dahlia Hawthorne poisoned a lawyer, she began relations with a certain college student in order to hide the evidence. That college student, have you heard anything about him? Well, I did hear one thing. She said she hated his guts. I see. Thank you for your help. You're welcome. Hurry up, Phoenix Wright. There is still much to investigate. Leave these locks to me. I'll open them for you, I promise. Thank you. I suppose I'd better continue my investigation. There's still one giant secret left to unlock. Pearl. Pearl Cyclock. Alright, let's go! I completely forgot that Franziska was in here as well. Which is why I was shocked when she, cropped up. Yep, I need to go to Heavenly Hall. All the losers. What do you call it? Losers Shack? Where losers get together and, I don't know, have fun at their miserable lives. Look at that, they really did make a fire right in front of the shack. Oh, Mr. Nick. Huh, you're too late, Nick. If you came here for one of our potatoes, we've already polished them all off. I think I've pretty much got all the evidence I need. Now I just need to find out what Pearls is hiding. Boom! Oh yeah. You can't present it like you do in the court. Jeez. There we go. I keep forgetting you have to go to present first. Ba-ba-ba-boom. 5 bloody locks. Ooh. Night of the crime. After dinner on the night of the murder, you were supposed to be in Elise, or Miss Elise's room, reading a book together, correct? Yes, I was so happy when she invited me. But I didn't go in the end. You didn't go? No. There was somewhere else I had to go instead. I was so worried, I had to go. I didn't know what to do with myself. I was so nervous. So Pearls never went to Miss Elise's room. Because she was too worried about something or someone else. Pearls? On the night of the murder, you went to this place, didn't you? God, switching the screen is weird. You went here, didn't you, Pearls? Looks like she's still not going to open up to me. This is where you went because you were so worried, right? Then the next question is, who or what were you so worried about? Now I'm going to take a guess, and you can tell me if I'm right or wrong, okay? You mean you know? If I'm right, will you tell me the whole truth? Okay. You went to this place for one very simple reason, and that is this. It's obvious that you were worried, or so worried about, or what you were so worried about, Pearls. It was Maya, wasn't it? Ah! You knew the training Maya was undertaking was dangerous. After all, it was the special course. I signed up for your special course. Well, my. Quite brave of you considering how cold it is. Young people can be so reckless with their health. Don't blame me if you become one with those you channel. Sister Bikini scared you with what she said, didn't she? And because it was you who introduced Hazakura Temple to Maya in the first place, you felt responsible, didn't you? Thinking about what could happen to Mystic Maya made me more and more worried. I couldn't sit still at all. That's why I decided to go and find out how she was doing at the Inner Temple. Then we're clear now. We're clear now that you went to the inner temple that night, Pearls. What's not clear is what happened after that. Ugh. About what time was it when you headed over to the inner temple? It was probably around 9:30 when I left the main hall. I heard the real training was supposed to start at 10. I wanted to get there before it started, but there was so much snow, so I didn't get there until after 10 o'clock. Until after 10? How did you know what time it was? Because I heard the bell ring for lights out? She heard the lights out bell. The Hazakura Temple bell's pretty small though, isn't it? You must have really good hearing. I was really trying to pick up the sound of that bell, that's all. I didn't want to miss it. That would be terrible. She was trying to hear the bell. Tell me, Pearls, why were you so worried about hearing that bell? Oh, I think I know why. The reason you were so worried about that bell was because of this. It was to get Pearl? Oh, that's awful. Yeah. As soon as you hear the lights out bell. That's terrible, my god. You were given some instructions to follow for that night, weren't you? I presume you recognize these pieces of paper. Ah! Where did you... In the incinerator at the inner temple. Pearls, you were following the instructions in this letter that night, weren't you? That's why you couldn't afford to miss the sound of the lights out bell. I'm speechless, Mr. Nick, you're amazing. These instructions that were found in the incinerator, I believe they were written for you, Pearls. For me, no. As you can see, a large portion has been burnt, but the last section is still fairly legible. As soon as you hear the lights out bell, you must channel her spirit. Who was it, Pearls? Whose spirit were you supposed to channel? Taking into account the author of the note, and their purpose for writing it, whose spirit would Pearls have been trying to channel? Don't overthink it, Phoenix. It's pretty obvious who Pearls was supposed to channel. The person you were trying to channel that night, Pearls, was... Da-da-la-la-da-la-la. Boom! It was Dahlia Hawthorne, wasn't it? That was the name that was in the letter. There we go! It's just as I suspected. It wasn't Iris who Sister Bikini met at the inner temple that night. It was Dahlia Hawthorne. Acting. As Iris. Oh no. Do you know anything about her, Pearls? Do you know what kind of a woman Dahlia Hawthorne was? No. I've never heard of anyone by that name before reading those instructions. Thought so. Pearls doesn't have a clue. She doesn't know that Dahlia is her sister. Oh yeah. Probably a good idea to not break that news to her. About the instructions in the letter I found, Pearls. Who wrote them? Why ask? It's obvious. Whoever it was asked you to channel the spirit of someone you've never heard of. You must have quite a lot of respect for them. After all, you followed their instructions without question. So here's my next question. Who wrote the set of instructions for you to follow? Oh god, what am I doing? Quite obvious. Morgan Fay! Yeah, older sister of Misty Fay and mother of Pearl and Iris. Is in solitary confinement. God, I just realised how much of a chunk that was if you got it wrong. Pearls, I have to wonder about something. You didn't have any idea what these instructions meant, did you? Badump. But you followed them to the letter regardless. Why? Because it was your own mother who asked you, that's why. How did you... I figured it out. The person who wrote you this letter was your own mother, Morgan Fay. Alright, Pearls. It's time you started telling me the truth. Mr. Nick, Why is she holding back from me? I don't like this. Don't underestimate me, just because I'm a child. Huh? If you're trying to say I followed these instructions, I'd like to see some proof. What? Because I don't think you have any. So, wait, she'd say anything rather than admit to carrying out those instructions. I guess I'll have to produce some more evidence then. One more thing should do it. Alright, Pearls. We both know someone carried out these instructions on the night of the murder. But you're right, there's no evidence that proves it was you. I knew it. However, I do know that whoever did it was a child. How do you know that? It couldn't have been an adult. No adult would have made a simple mistake like that. A simple mistake? What do you mean by that? I'm sure you thought you were carefully following the instructions you'd been given, but you misunderstood some of the words, and this is the evidence that proves it. Yeah, what he's referring to is actually... yeah, it's the poster, but it's in this, it says at the end. Yeah, gravely roast. Gravely roast the master. So she misread, like, gravely, as in coat or roast them in gravy, I suppose. A common child thing. My goodness. It was you who splattered gravy on this hanging scroll, wasn't it? Ah! What? Why would I do that? Something like... Do you remember what was written in that letter? Gravely roast the master in the fires of Hades and bring our vengeance to fruition. You didn't know how to read the words gravely and roast, among others, right? How do you know that? Remember the conversation you had with... Oh, God, I do! Oh, wow. Remember the conversation you had with Miss Elise on the night of the murder? Wait a minute, did she know? Hang on, she specifically stated gravely and roast. Like oddly specific words. Perhaps we can read some books together. Really? I'd love to. I am not very good at reading. Well then, would you like to practice reading with me? Miss Elise? So for example, how do you read this? It says, gravely... That's kind of a tough word. Yeah, she pointed out roast as well. Sure. Yeah, she taught... Okay, Miss Elise taught you how to read gravely and roast. But what she didn't teach you was what they meant. Gravely sounded like gravy to me, and the only roast I could think of was the food. That's why you did it. That's why you covered the picture of the master in gravy from the night's pot roast. To be honest, I did think it was a bit strange. I guess I really did get the wrong idea. Just a tiny bit. I really am useless. Didn't even manage to burn the letter properly as my mother asked of me. Such a simple thing and I couldn't even do it right. Ugh, dear. Poor Pearls. She gets roped into all this shit and she's just a kid. Right, the night of the crime. After dinner that night, I didn't go to the inner temple. With a pot full of the leftover gravy. The gravy? I saw the picture of the hanging scroll near the sacred cabin. I was sure it was the Master of Khura'in like it said in the letter. I see, and then? Well, it was already way past 10 when I got there because of all the snow. So I went to the inner temple guest area. The guest area? Yeah, I thought I could wait there until the training was over. Why didn't you just go to the training hall? Because Mystic Maya's main training had already started and I couldn't interrupt it. So I just stayed there... Oh no, stayed where I was and prayed for her to get through it. But then... Pearls, did you fall asleep? I'm sorry, I didn't mean to. I just couldn't help it. Hey, don't worry about it, Pearl. Who cares if you fell asleep? I fell asleep waiting for Iris too. It happens. Anyway, then you found yourself trapped at the inner temple. Yes, when I woke up it was morning. I tried not to cry, but Dusky Bridge wasn't there anymore and there was no one in the training hall. I thought everyone had left me because I overslept. I threw the letter into the incinerator and then I heated up the leftover gravy and... let off some steam by chucking the gravy on the scroll while you cried. What a weird thing to do. Yeah, it's just oddly specific. Must have been pretty scary for you, pal. I know what it's like. Nick used to leave me behind when I fell asleep at school, too. Don't equate something so trivial with her experience, Larry. Hey, that's Laurice. Lost powers. It was written right in my mother's letter. It said, as soon as you hear the lights out bell, you must channel her spirit. I was on my way over to the inner temple when I heard the bell ring. So you channeled Dahlia Hawthorne's spirit? No, I tried, but I couldn't do it. You couldn't do it? I've never failed at channeling someone. This is the first time it's happened. I tried and I tried and I tried and I tried. Oh, I tried and I tried and I tried. Yesterday, this morning, the whole time. But I just couldn't do it. Don't let it get you down, Pearl. It'll all work out. God, I said so many different words there. If you want, I'll come flying through the sky for you. Whoosh. Just like that. Such an idiot. So she never managed to channel the spirit. Is that why you think your spiritual powers are gone? Yes, I don't know what to do. Is there any other explanation for why you couldn't channel the spirit? I suppose there's one other possibility. It's not very likely though. I'm going to guess if someone else is already channeling said spirit, that spirit cannot be channeled. That's probably where this is leading, I'm guessing. It's the only logical solution, I would say. Could you please tell me what it is anyway? It could happen if someone else was already channeling the same spirit. Bingo! Someone else? What do you mean? Well, there's only one of each spirit, right? Yep, it's like dating a girl, Nick. You can't see a hot chick if she's already taken. And that would mean on the night of the murder, someone else channeled her spirit before Pearls could. Someone else channeled the spirit of Dahlia Hawthorne. I'm a failure. I couldn't even grant my mother's final wish. Her final wish? Yes, this letter. This is my last wish, she said. So make sure you follow the instructions carefully. This letter. I definitely need to find out more about it. Morgan's letter. My mother has gone to a place called a penitentiary. Yeah, I know, Pearls. I visit her every month. And last month she told me... The time we've been waiting for has come, Pearl. There's something I need you to do for me. I hid a letter for you at our home before they brought me here. I want you to read it and do exactly what it says. It's for the good of the Fae clan, my angel. You'll be doing a great thing. Now, listen carefully, and I'll tell you where the letter's hidden. My mother is always nice to me, I love her very much. Yeah, moms will do anything for their kids, right? She said it was for the good of the Fae clan, so I knew I had to help her. I mean, Mystic Maya's part of the Fae clan, so it had to be good for her too. Oh no! She's so innocent and sweet. She was doing it because she thought it would help everything, when in reality what it would do is... I'm not entirely sure, actually. But it would destroy the main family branch, either by getting Maya locked up or killed. That's right, isn't it, Mr. Nick? I guess so, yeah. There was a picture with her letter too. A picture? Of Miss Dahlia Hawthorne. Usually a picture is enough to channel someone's spirit, but this time... Pretty weird, huh? Like Larry knows anything about this stuff. There's something else that was strange about my mother's letter. The seal on it was broken, as if someone had already opened it once before, so someone did know. That sure is pretty strange. Someone had opened it already. Thanks, Bells. You really helped me out. You're very welcome. My mother is watching over us, so I'm sure Mystic Maya will be alright. Look at that innocent smile on her face. What am I supposed to say to her? Huh. It's Godot! Finally figured it out, have you, Trite? You finally realised how terrible of a crime being painfully obvious is. Oh, how terrible of a crime being painfully oblivious is. Godot. The entrance to the sacred cabin looks like a freaking puzzle workshop. I guess he's talking about Iris and the lock-breaking effort. But it's all a waste of time. Why do you say that? Because Maya Fey isn't coming back. What? You don't know what you're talking about. How can you say something like that? It was your job to protect her, right? Just like it was your job to protect Mia Fey. Two sisters caught up in the worst circumstances. I realised that, but... And you were the only one who was by their sides. You were the only one who could have saved them. But I didn't know anything about what was going on. Huh. What did I just say, Trite? Being oblivious is a heinous crime in itself. Tomorrow. We'll settle everything in court tomorrow, once and for all. Mr. Nick? Is what that man just said true? It'll be alright, Pearls. I'm sure Maya's alive. You'll see for yourself tomorrow. Yeah, that's right. I know I can trust you, Mr. Nick. Ooh, God. My dear Pearl, you've done so well, my child. My Pearl. It's better that you don't know. I knew this day would come for you. The blood of the main family is no more. Now you are to take the place at the head of the Fae clan. My last great wish. It seems I was just in time. Ah, no. To be continued! Oh my god, we have 3 trials ahead of us now. Fuck. God, it's such an awkward place where it ended too. She looks like a killer. Actually, she didn't kill anybody, but she framed her niece. I couldn't remember what she would have been. Yeah, she framed her niece for a murder in the previous game, and then in this game, tried to get her killed. How fun. Either way, I've completed the investigations. I'm gonna take a break. Just for I don't know, half an hour, let my voice rest. And then I'm gonna be back with the rest of this game, and I'm going to finish it once and for all. But either way, that is going to be the end of this session. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you have enjoyed, and until next time, take care.